All right, welcome back. Part three. I think this is part three to hopefully finish up the Transformers list. Generation one. These will be season three, season four. I did get, I think, some clarity on some of these. Let me see if I have their names. I thought I saved it somewhere. Um, so we had the female robots. There was actually one that I added because I realized they did not have it in here, and probably because there wasn't like a scene from the movie where they were prominent, but she was small. So I'm including her in here. These are, let me see, where did I write that? Okay, they're just listed as female Autobots. So we had Alita 1. This is Moon Racer here, I think. So I'm going to have to put Moon Racer, I remember, and I'm going to have in the cool space. That was the like one name that I remembered. I think this is Chromia. I don't remember, so I'm going to have this forgettable. Firestar here, and then we had Green Light, which is this one. Again, probably like a small scene that they're in. Similar to this one, because I don't remember this one at all, and that's Lancer. So those are the ones there. I think we had another one that we were questioning around Tracks, the guy next to Tracks. So I thought this was Pipes, but I think it might be Skids, and Pipes is this guy. So Skids is forgettable for me because I forgot he existed, but he's like a van. I vaguely remember him, but I don't remember his personality all that much to be able to say that I know who it is. So the only other guy is this dude down here that I don't recognize. And again, I think it was like an Autobot from another planet in season two that I just don't know. He might have been like a friend from another planet or somebody they saved. So we'll see. All right, season three. Okay, so I think these are going to be a little bit harder for me to track and remember. There's some that are categories I think I mentioned last time, like throttle bots. Those run together for me. The other ones are combiners, so you're going to see one combiner, I think, for the Autobots and maybe just two for the Decepticons. So that's going to be a lot of them. Throttle bots, combiners. The rest are mostly headmasters and target masters after that. So, all right. This, I think, is Pipes, and Pipes is a small microbot. So I talked a little bit about that, about like Sea Spray and Beachcomber and those guys. Pipes was that way. I'll have him as cool. I thought he was fine. He had some parts to play in terms of like getting Metroplex fixed, if I recall. Probably should have rewatched the show before I did this because I remember season three more. But I do remember this guy's is Outback. Outback is a little Jeep. Pipes is a truck, like a tiny truck. Outback, I did have the toy of. He was like a little desert Jeep looking dude. Probably Australia, which would make sense. Very blurry picture there. Don't know who that is. So I'm going to say I don't recognize there. Don't recognize there. Now these guys I recognize, but I think they are parts of Metroplex. So Metroplex is the giant city. It was Autobot City, or at least a part of Autobot City from the movie, but the toy splits into different characters, and I think on the cartoon he has different characters. So there's Six Gun, that I think is this guy because I remember putting him together where he's got different guns and parts of Metroplex that you put on. There's Scamper, who I think is this little guy, and then there's Slammer, who I think is the tank. Could be getting those mixed up, but I think that's how the toy worked. So this was Scamper. Scamper is one I thought was kind of cool. I like playing with Scamper. I didn't really remember Slammer that much. And then Six Shot I thought was kind of dumb because it was like I was taking six of his weapons and putting it together. And even if I don't consider the toy, like that's kind of how it worked on the show. And I was like, I don't really get it. So I'm just going to have him as dumb for now. He might change into more forgettable because I don't remember too much. In fact, I'll go and put him there just because he's like the others. I don't remember him enough. And he might have been better than what I'm remembering with the toys. All right, here's where we get to the throttle bots. They're a little difficult for me to remember the difference between them. So I think you've got Chase, Freeway, Wide Load, Searchlight. And then I don't know, maybe that feels like an extra one. Goldbug was one of them. So Bumblebee ended up being one of them, but then I thought you had four more, but that might be a generic group of them. That looks like Goldbug though, so I don't know. Maybe this is one of them. So maybe one of them's not it. Maybe this one's not. I don't know. We'll have to see here. So Chase was the red one, I think, and then Freeway was Freeway the blue one, and then Wide Load was the truck one, and then I think you had Searchlight was the white one. Might be getting those mixed up, but those are the four that I remember. So these guys were all kind of cool. I liked them. They were spunky and fought hard. Small though, and so I'm gonna have them in that generic cool category. I'm thinking this is the one I just don't remember because he doesn't look like a throttle bot. He's too big. So there's a chance like he's a guy that I don't remember too much. Yeah, just doesn't look familiar. Okay. So this I think is Metroplex. Everything together, really big. So super big robot. I don't know in the end if he was bigger than Fortress Maximus or not. From later, we'll see. But yeah, he was huge. Had the toy, was super cool. But in the show, he was cool. He's like they had to get his transformation cog and fix him and get him back operating. But I always thought that he was awesome. I liked Metroplex a lot. Two triple changers here. So we had Springer earlier, and then we get two triple changers now, Broadside and Sandstorm. So Broadside was, I think, I know he was like a battleship. I think his other transformation might have been like a plane, but I'm totally probably wrong there. Sandstorm felt like a helicopter and a some sort of car. But they're not as popular to me as Springer, and I really didn't remember them all that much comparatively. So I'm gonna have them in a more forgettable category. Skylynx. Skylynx is not forgettable. Skylynx is a very unique character. Skylynx was he splits into like two. The bottom half is like a lion, and the top is a dragon kind of deal. But this is what he looks like. Like he doesn't transform into a robot that looks like a robot, and so he's very much more of a transportation vehicle. But he's very smart. He always sounded smart when he talked. So Skylynx was a pretty cool character, I thought. Definitely different. I'll have him in the barely not awesome category to start. All right, only a few Autobots here. You've got the Technobots. So had this with the combiners where they're very generic, right? Technobots are where I'm a little bit different because for some reason I loved their toys. And I'm trying not to interject a toy piece into this. But the reason it does is because I had the toys before I saw the episodes. Again, I did not have season 3. I didn't get it until later whenever I bought VHS tapes that had it. So I had these toys beforehand, and I thought they were the coolest ones. So you have Scattershot, who Scattershot's a like futuristic spaceship plane kind of thing. You had, was it Strife, who's or Strafe, who's a like futuristic dual gun plane in the front. Strafe's really cool. You had Afterburner, who's a futuristic looking motorcycle. Nose Cone is like a drill machine, and then Lightspeed was a red, awesome looking car. So I like these guys. I will have them in my some of them are barely not awesome. So I'll have Scattershot up there. Strafe I'll have up there. And Afterburner I'll have up there. Nose Cone I don't think I liked quite as much. I'm going to have him in the cool category. And then Lightspeed was one of my favorite dudes too. Now, these guys were smart. These were the ones I mentioned with Grimlock, where Grimlock's brain went to them because they formed Computron when they were together. Now, Computron is way down here for some reason. So I thought he was cool too. So I'm going to have him up there. Now, they may fall, or some of these guys may come ahead of them, but it's somewhere around there. These guys are a little tricky. So these are also the newer version of Soundwave's cassette tapes. So there's two dinosaurs that you see here, and then so one is Ratbat is the first one. He's kind of more of a bat. You have Overkill, I think, was the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and then Slugfest is the Stegosaurus. So Ratbat I remember more than the others. I'm going to have as cool. These guys I do not remember in the show. I did have their toy, the toy for each of them. But there's like one episode where they is like Call of the Primals or something. It's not right, but something where there was a beacon that brought all of the like dinosaur type Transformers together. So you think like the Predacons, which are coming out, the Dinobots, those guys. So that's all I remember from them. But I don't know that they did anything else. Okay, we've got this is Octane, I think. So Octane is a triple changer. I believe he's a triple changer. I thought he was cool. I don't know that I remember too much about him beyond like him just kind of being the kind of good soldier type personality. I don't think he was, I think he was more of the stable Decepticons, I guess, compared to some of the others. So I'll give him credit for that, but don't remember him otherwise. These next two I'm going to get backwards, I'm sure. But you have Runabout and Runamuck. I'm going to assume they did them in order. They're like twins. They started to do this a little bit at the end where they have twins. You see the couple down here that doesn't look like they separated. I doubt, no, they did with the others. So don't know why. But they wouldn't be different for me anyway. But Runabout and Runamuck, I actually had Runamuck, which I think was this one as a toy. I did not have Runabout. I will have them as kind of forgettable. I don't know what they did in the show. Looks like this guy's riding Blastoff. This is one of the Combaticons. Okay, we get to the Predacons. So the Predacons form Predaking, and this is Predaking. I'll go ahead and start with Predaking. He is really cool looking. And I thought he was like one of the cooler combiners. I'm going to have him up in the Barely Not Awesome section to start, but he very formidable, seemed very strong. Now these guys, I always get mixed up. The first one I don't, because he's Razor Claw, so he's like a lion. And Razor Claw is pretty cool. I'll have him up in the cool section. You have Dive Bomb, I can tell, because he's a like a condor pterodactyl looking deal. So we will move him up. I'll have him in the cool section as well. Tantrum, or Headstrong or Rampage, I think are the other ones. Um, Tantrum is the bull, so I think that's this one. He's cool looking. And then we have the last two, and I can't remember which one. I think Rampage. This is Headstrong, and this is Rampage. So I'm going to say Headstrong, who's like a like a razorback or something maybe, and then you have like a panther. So something like that. They're all animal themed, and they become Predaking. The next ones are the Terrorcons. The Terrorcons are the Technobots arch rivals. So the ones we just went through that I liked on the Autobot side. These guys I also had their combiner, and Abominus is their big dude. Abominus is fun to make. These guys had a little bit more distinction to me than some of the others. So Abominus I will have as Barely Not Awesome. These guys, Hunger is the first one. It's like Hunger, Hungurr or something like that. I remember on the box for the toy. He's got two heads. Looks cool. He's like a monster. These guys are kind of monster looking. So I'll have him in the Barely Not Awesome section. Okay, I got to make sure I get these guys right. This is Dive Bomb, or not Dive Bomb, Cutthroat. So Cutthroat is like a more of the pterodactyl looking thing. Dive Bomb up here was more of the condor looking thing. But I'll have him as cool. This is Center Twin. Center Twin was also a two-headed dragon looking thing, but he was smaller with like horns. Hunger was more of like an alligator looking two-headed monster. So I will have him in the cool section as well. And then we have Snap Trap Ripper Snapper and Blot. So Ripper Snapper is this one, I think, who was cool. He's like a man, I don't even know how to explain. Almost looked like a standing mouse. He looked like these robot. I feel like there were these robot mouse looking things on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that he reminds me of, but I may be making that up. And then Blot. Blot looked like a purple ape kind of guy. So we'll have him up there. I know Cool is very big, but that's where we're going to find most of these guys. All right. Trypticon. So Trypticon is the Metroplex counterpart. He is a giant, like, dinosaur looking dude. Godzilla looking dude. Cool looking dude. And I thought Trypticon was awesome. I really liked him too. Don't think he talked. He was more of a roar guy than a talker, but he was a city and a so technically a triple changer as well. He was a like battle station city, and then the duty is up there, the dinosaur looking thing. Okay, so that gets us to season 4. Probably a bit controversial, a little bit dumb, honestly, but still fun. Still some good characters, I think. Some of my ones I had toys of, so or were jealous of having friends that had the toys that I didn't have. So in season 4, we have the headmasters and target masters. Headmasters, they could take their head off, and the head would become another guy. The target masters were a gun that flipped off and became another guy. Now, if I recall, they were on a planet, and it became necessary for them to like combine forces with the locals to defeat the Decepticons or vice versa. And they just like, once one did it, the other did it. I want to say they were Nebulons or something like that. But anyway, they were little guys in these robotic suits that were their heads for the headmasters, and target masters, they used their guns. So let's try to get these right. Highbrow is definitely this one. Hardhead is definitely this one. Chrome Dome is this one. Well, wait. This is Highbrow. This is Brainstorm, I think. One of the two. So these guys are the headmasters to start. We'll have a couple more, and then I think these are target masters, these guys. So yeah, Brainstorm. This is Brainstorm. I liked Brainstorm. I'll have him as Barely Not Awesome. smart guy, kind of maybe the leader of them. Then we have Hardhead. Hardhead's kind of the dumb Ironhide type dude. I was very jealous of one of my friends that had the Hardhead toy, which was a future tank looking thing. And I did not have it. But I liked him a lot too. The character rankings are not indicative of how good the episodes were either, because I think the plot was a little dumb, but I thought the characters were kind of cool. Chrome Dome, again, he had that toy. I did not, but I'll have Chrome Dome a little lower in the cool section. And then Highbrow is the same. I will have him down there. It's like a car and a plane. I think Highbrow was a plane. So we'll just keep it with the headmasters first, because they have them over here. So this is Cerebros. Cerebros is the head of Fortress Maximus. So I had a Fortress Maximus as a toy, and it is the coolest toy I've ever owned. He's huge. He's like real big. You can't even see it. I can't show it, but biggest toy, like robot for sure. Transformed into a battle station as well as like a city, but his robot form was super cool, and he was built very well. He's plastic, but it was just like really solid. He was fun to transform. His head would come off and form Cerebro, and then Cerebro's head was also a headmaster that would flip off. So it was like 3 layers of transforming, and he had all these little nooks, like, as a kid you love when they have little trap doors and stuff you can open. And then he had a little port where the cars could come out the front. So really cool toy. But anyway, toy aside, Fortress Maximus on the show was also cool, but probably not used very much because it was only a few episodes. So Cerebros was like the smart, small, normal size Autobot version of it, who I thought was fine. And then Fortress Maximus, I thought was like barely not awesome in the show. I thought he was fun. But I liked Metroplex a little bit more on the show, whereas if I was going to say the toys, I'd flip the two. All right, that takes us to the Target Masters. So the Target Masters are Crosshairs, Sure Shot, and Point Blank. And I think that Point Blank is the first one. And then we have Sure Shot, or Crosshairs, Point Blank, Crosshairs, and then Sure Shot. My favorite of them was Sure Shot. And I'm going to have him as Barely Not Awesome. I just remember him a little bit more. Crosshairs was pretty cool too, though. I like Crosshairs. I'm going to have him in the cool category. And then I'm actually going to say that Point Blank was maybe my least favorite of them, and I'll have him down at the bottom of cool, likely. Okay, this is Punch / Counter Punch. Punch was, and I don't know, do they have Counter Punch? No, because that's okay. So they're counting it as one character, I think, which is fine. It is one character, but he's like split personality. It could just be that he's a double agent and they do it really well. But I got confused as a kid. I'm like, wait, is he actually switching sides, or is he really just a spy? And I think there was finally one episode toward the end where I was like, oh, he's just a double agent spy. Why it appears that way is because when he looks like this, he's an Autobot. He will flip colors to where the purple side becomes his main side when he's a Decepticon. Friend had that toy as well. It was pretty cool. You could make him both sides. So Punch was pretty cool. I'll have him as Barely Not Awesome. It was a cool concept for a character. Okay, we have Cloudraker and Fastlane. They are twins. They are like a plane and a car kind of deal. One of those finish each other sentence type things. Not in the show a ton, but just cool toys as well. For some reason, now I realize like my friend had season 4 toys, and I had the other seasons. Seasons 2 and 3 especially. So I will have them in cool. I thought they were kind of cool looking. We're on the Decepticons now. I will go ahead while we're here and do Pounce and Wingspan. So this is Pounce and this is Wingspan. They are twins as well, so they're the counterparts to Cloudraker and Fastlane. and I will have them as cool as well. They were fun little battles that they had, or battle or two in that show. Okay, that leaves us with the headmasters and target masters of the Decepticons. So we have Mindwipe, Skullcruncher, Weird Wolf, and Scorponok. So I think Scorponok is like the main one, much like Fortress Maximus was. We can go ahead and do him. So I had Scorponok toy as well, which was super cool. He turned into a giant scorpion, was a city. Wasn't as big as Fortress Maximus, but he was still fun. The way he transformed into like a robot was cool, looked cool. His head came off again to form a little guy. The other thing that was kind of neat with these, you see how he's got a breastplate. The toy, what they would do is when you put the head in the slot where it went, if you open up his chest plate, there were 3 different bars that would come up, and it was like their intelligence, their strength, and their, I don't know, dexterity or agility or something probably, but I would say how strong they were, and like Scorponok was super strong, or Fortress Maximus was super strong. I don't know if Fortress Maximus did that, Cerebros did, but they had that, which I thought was pretty cool. But I liked Scorponok in the show. I'll call him Barely Not Awesome as well. So going back to some of these guys, so Skullcruncher, I think is this one. Mindwipe is this one. This, I think this is Snapdragon. Maybe getting that wrong, but I thought these were the 3. No, this is Apeface. I want to say that's Apeface. So Apeface was a purple dude. He and Snapdragon were different. They were like horror cons or something, which is probably why they put him here. So Apeface was a gorilla, and I thought he was pretty cool. Snapdragon, I thought was kind of Barely Not Awesome. I liked his. He was a almost like an alligator type guy, but he was pretty fun. So then we get to Mindwipe. This is Mindwipe. He's a bat that like can look in your eyes and hypnotize you, which I thought was cool. So Barely Not Awesome for Mindwipe. Then we have Skullcruncher here. And Skullcruncher I don't remember as much, so I'm going to put him as forgettable. Like, that literally is the only kind of scene I remember him being in, but perhaps I'm wrong. And then I think this is Weird Wolf, who turns into more of a wolf character, which I'll have as cool. That leaves us with a final few here. Hopefully I can pinpoint these. Trigger Happy is the first one. This is a target master. He is, as he says, trigger happy. He shoots at a lot of stuff. So he is more than willing to blast with whatever guy. I remember him like just firing all over the place. That's trigger happy. But I liked him. I liked that he was kind of nuts like that. So I'll have him as Barely Not Awesome. This, I think there's Slug Slinger and Misfire are the other two. I think this is Slug Slinger, and I think this is Misfire. Misfire, I don't remember much at all. And Slug Slinger, I'll have as cool because I think I liked his personality a little bit, and he stood out a bit more. But he's more of a jet. Misfire, I don't even remember what he transforms into. And then the last one we have is probably the most unique of them, named Six Shot. So Six Shot, I think, has 6 different transformation forms that he transforms into. And there was like one scene in the show where he does all 6 like in a row. You're like, whoa. So it's like a one-man army deal. But I thought he was really cool. I thought that was a cool concept for a character. I'll have him in the Barely Not Awesome category. So aside from some of these dudes down here that I just for some reason don't remember, that puts us at the end of this group. There's a couple that I thought I remembered names of, but now I don't know if they were in there. So yeah, I'll just leave them down there and go from there. Maybe one day I'll figure them out. these guys I'm not as confident. Like I feel like I should know who they are, whereas this guy I don't think he's anything. Okay, so now we're gonna rank. See how much time we have left. Hopefully it's not too terrible. I'm trying not to take all day, and if it's like even close, I'll move them. I'm gonna move Chip to the bottom of forgettable. I don't know. Again, the people thing. I don't really care about the people in a show about robots, but that's just me. So Holler, I don't remember anything about. A couple of these female characters, I don't remember anything about. I don't even remember. I remember these female characters, so I'm going to say I don't remember a couple of those. I don't remember the Seekers too much. And I think that's about it from really don't remember. But some of these they're forgettable. Like I'll lose them off the top of my head, but I know who they are. So Trailbreaker is probably up toward the top. Blue Streak's up toward the top. Wind Chargers maybe a little bit more than Blue Streak. Red Alert is I'll have them below Huffer. Grapple, Cosmos, close. I'll have Grapple out of him. Oops. Goldbug I remember more, but it's just because it was Bumblebee than Buzzsaw. I remember Trax, even though I can remember his name a little bit more than Buzzsaw. And then Broadside and Sandstorm. I remember Sandstorm. I remember them more than those two. And I remember these guys more in the show. And I remember these guys more in the show. Okay, that gets us through the forgettables, I think. That's pretty good. Trying to think if cool is too big and what would I put? I'm just going to do this. I'm going to put I'll put a row below. Yeah. Did it go? I don't know if I'm not going to make two in case. Yeah. Row below, and then we'll call it solid. So cool, and then solid. With solid, I'm going to move some of these guys up. Trailbreaker, Wind Charger. I'm going to go solid down to Huffer. And Red Alert. I mean, he's memorable enough. Okay, so that gets me to like the bottom of solid. They may actually be above some of these now that I've got like a not just forgettable category. This is probably where the bulk of the difficulty is going to come from. So who are the best ones? Mirage, Hound, fine. Sideswipe for sure. Brawn, Thundercracker, Frenzy. Trying to remember some of the quotes by the individual Constructicons that might separate them out for me in my mind. Trax, Powerglide. Defensor I thought was kind of cool. I have more. Oh, Blur for sure. I'll have Blur higher. It's a little annoying, but sometimes you got to have those annoying guys to balance things out. Okay, not a bad start. Okay, twins are probably more in the solid category here. Some of these guys are going to fall down to the solids. So the target masters, the headmasters here are definitely solid. Yeah, that's there. Okay, let me try to order those real quick. So I do like Weird Wolf more than these guys. And I put Trigger Happy up higher, hopefully. Yeah. All right. Just trying to see where I'm drawing the line on like solid, because I want to make cool, earn it. Probably up. Some of these need to move. Okay, I think I've got a better handle on it now. So Cerebros, I'll have a solid, but he's more down here. Highbrow, I kind of think is cool. Point Blank, I will have down here. Right by Cerebros. Chrome Dome's fine. All right, some of these guys are more solid. So Blot is more solid. Snapdragon, or why am I just getting his name mixed up? It's oh, I can't remember. Anyway, move him down. It's just fatigue. Cutthroat, I like more. Center Twin, I like more. Okay, these guys Pounce, I can move down. Keep Tantrum, keep Dive Bomb. Headstrong. I'm going to move. No, I like Dive Bomb. I'm going to keep him there. Octane's fine. Rat Bat, I will move down. I do like these guys a little bit more than the twins. Okay, all fine there. Highbrow, I want to move up. Chrome Dome, I'll move up. Do I like Highbrow or Chrome Dome more? Probably Highbrow. Okay. Throttlebots are solid. They're not my favorite. Okay. Then I like Wide Load, Searchlight. And then probably have them ahead of Rat Bat and ahead of the Terracons. Yeah. Okay. All right, back up here. That's just solid for Scamper. Outback is solid. Outback would be down there. Pipes is cooler than some of these guys. Come on, Pipes was, he at least did something. I'll have Pipes right around Red Alert. All right, that gets us, okay, yeah, I don't remember too much of Moonracer. And then guards were just solid. I'll have them about there. That gets us to okay. Well, I do now. I'm starting to get to the guys that I like more in terms of being cool. But some of them might fall to the solids in these groups where they combine. These are the blaster cassettes first. So Steeljaw, Ram Horn, Eject, and Rewind. I like these guys. I like, man, I just don't remember him as much. It's weird. I'm going to move him down though to here, here, and move him here. But I do like Steeljaw and Ramhorn a little bit more. I'm going to keep them up. Okay, Vortex, Blast Off, Swindle, Brawl. Swindle's like annoying. I remember him having an annoying like Weasley personality, and yet it's like I have good memory of it. So I'm going to have him a little bit higher. I remember those guys, but I'm going to have Ramhorn and Steeljaw above them. I'm going to move some of these Stunticons down. I do like Dragstrip probably the most, so I'll move him up. Breakdown, Dead End Wild Rider. I will have toward the bottom here, and I am going to move them down here to be below the Predacons. Okay. All right, so Swindle, Steeljaw. Now, to be fair, like, okay, no, I don't like these guys as much as even Huffer. I give Huffer a bit of a bad rap because he's small, but I need to be careful. Having a little above voice, that's about right. So drag strip, fine. Okay, now we get to those three. Dirge, Ramjet, Thrust. Dirge, I think, is my favorite of them. Might be a little biased having had the toy, but I liked his look on the cartoon. I like the blue. I would have them above the aerial bots. And then these are the Protectobots. So they're a little farther down. So they're kind of like Red Alert. I'm going to have Chase Freeway, Streetwise, First Aid, and Hotspot I will keep a little bit higher. Maybe right there. Okay, similar with the aerial bots. So we have Silverbolt, Fireflight, Skydive, Air Raid, Slingshot. Silverbolt got on my nerves just from being not flying and doing what he's supposed to be doing. I'm going to move him down for that. Yeah, he got on my nerves. Air Raid, I think, is one of my more favorite of them. I will say too, these were cool toys. I liked having the jet toys, so they were fun. But I'm trying not to give them too much credit here. The order there was Air Raid, Skydive, Fireflight, Silverbolt, Slingshot. In terms of how cool they were, Slingshot was the smallest. Silverbolt was the biggest, but he was also like a Concorde looking jet, so he wasn't like an F-16 or something. But I'm going to have Slingshot a little farther down than some of the others here. Okay. Okay, I got to move Trailbreaker up. I just keep mentally telling myself, why is Trailbreaker so low and Windcharger so low comparatively? So move them up. Alpha Trion, Beachcomber. Beachcomber I'll move down a little bit. maybe right here. Power Glide is a little bit more iconic. I remember his voice and all that a little bit more. Smoke Screen I can move down to be more by Blue Streak. That's kind of a good comp. Trax is fine. Alpha Trion's I'll have Alita 1 above Alpha Trion, actually. Sea Spray, sorry buddy, we're gonna move you down a bit. Maybe by Huffer. Huffer's a good comparison. Defensor. These Constructicons are so darn hard to split. And who is this? Nose Cone. So Nose Cone, let's say Nose Cone is probably down here by Beachcomber. Okay. Bone Crusher. I want to say Hook. I feel like Hook was one of my favorites. I feel like Scavenger was down here. Scraper or Scrapper was. So Hook, Bone Crusher, Long Haul were my favorites. Scrapper, then Mixmaster. No, then Scavenger, then Mixmaster. There we go. All right, Bombshell. Bombshell was pretty cool. I liked Bombshell more than Shrapnel, or than Kickback. I liked Bombshell more than Shrapnel. No, I didn't. I like Shrapnel more than Bombshell. So there they go. I am going to shift them below the Constructicons. Still solid though. Still good. Razor Claw moved down. To be maybe by Chrome. I'm gonna Beachcomber a little bit up. He's too low. Drag Strip's a little too high. Still too high. There we go. That feels better. All right. Almost done with cool. Hang in there. All right, Sparkplug. You know, I'm sorry. These guys, it's humans. They're not as entertaining. But I could have Sparkplug above Steeljaw, above Beachcomber. Maybe right about there. I'd have Trailbreaker and Windcharger above those guys too. I'd have Powerglide above Inferno. And I'd have Inferno below those guys. And Inferno below Sparkplug. Inferno below Beachcomber, Steeljaw, and I'll split Ramhorn. We'll do that. Snarl. Okay, I like the Dinobots. I like Snarl. I'm going to move Snarl up. Crosshairs, I can move down a bit. Crosshairs is more like right above Swindle, probably. Above Swindle. There we go. I'll have Octane above Swindle as well. Highbrow above Swindle. Chrome Dome. He's more like Drag Strip. There we go. Frenzy. Blur. Thundercracker. Thundercracker's pretty cool. Let's move Thundercracker up. Blur. Brawn. Snarl. I'll move Brawn. Brawn's brave. I like that. Mirage. I don't like as much as some of these guys, but maybe right below Blur, Snarl, Brawn, Thundercracker. Thundercracker I like over Sideswipe, and probably over Hound. So we'll do that there. All right, Carly, you know, again, I'm starting to get this like complex about the humans. Let's just move her down by Sparkplug, and let's move Spike down by Sparkplug as well. Then we get that out of the way. Okay. Should be able to close this out in the next 10 minutes or so, hopefully. All right, Sharkticons can go down. Trigger Happy, my way. Some of these season 3 guys are probably right to be lower. I got to figure out who my favorites are in this category to make sure I keep them up high. So let's do that first. Blaster is solid. Omega Supreme I like. Perceptor I like. Skywarp I like. Swoop. Snarl. I know I'm not moving them really anywhere. Laserbeak, Ravage, Frenzy, or Rumble, excuse me. Blitzwing, Quintessons, Skylynx, Cup, Ultra Magnus, RC. Scorponok, probably, actually. A little bit. All right. It's at least a start. Let's go from there. Sharkticon I can give a little bit more over Trigger Happy and Mind Wipe and Snapdragon. Snapdragon will move down. Snapdragon needs to move down farther. And I'm going to move him below. Yeah, he needs to go down. He'll be down by Crosshairs. Good comp. Put that down there. Yeah, some of these guys aren't as good as some of these ones I got here, which just means I move them up. So Trigger Happy goes down here. Mind Wipe, Sharkticon, and let's just say like Thundercracker, I need to move up. I like Thundercracker. I like Hound comparatively. Sideswipe, Brawn, Snarl. Okay. Because some of these guys like Onslaught's below them. Motormaster I would have above him, but this below. Bruticus I'd have below, or Minosaur, excuse me, that's Minosaur. Bruticus, that was somewhere else, there he is. Brainstorm, Hunger goes down for sure to right below Razor Claw. Okay, even though I like the Protectobots, I'm going to move them down a bit. Punch. Sure Shot. Okay. I like Blur more than some of those guys. And Mirage too. And then let's see. So if I said Forgettable needs to be about the same as Awesomes-ish. That's probably about right. Okay, so let's do Barely Not Awesome from the top down. That's maybe an easier way for me to do it. All right, I would have Wheeljack up toward the top, Bumblebee, Ratchet, Blaster, then a next of Cyclonus is fine. Cup is above some of these guys. Skywarp, Swoop, Cliff Jumper I'll have up here. I have Cyclonus above Blaster probably. It's close. Six Shot I can move down. Sludge, Swoop, Laserbeak, Ravage, Ultra Magnus, RC, sure, Rumble, Predaking, Blitzwing is above that. Skylynx is above that. Warpath can go down. Superion, Scorponok, Wreck-Gar goes up. Thundercracker is the biggest promotion so far. Thundercracker is one of those that, as I keep seeing him, I'm remembering more of his personality, because they did have distinct personalities between Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp. And it's just remembering some of the dynamic that they had back and forth. Okay, Warpath is below the Insecticons for me. So that's fine. Same with these guys who I've got from liking the toys beforehand. The Lightspeed was my favorite of them. Then Afterburner. Then Scattershot. Then Strafe. Personality-wise, though, I'd probably like Warpath more than them, so I will do that. And that thins out the Barely Not Awesomes a little bit. Okay, I can move Sure Shot down. And some of this may end up moving the other ones up to Barely Not Awesome. But Punch is going to be below. Punch below Power Glide. I've sold some of these guys a little too short. They just had more to do. Wind Charger, I'm moving up. Trax, I'll move up. Trailbreaker, I'll move up. Power Glide as well. Okay, I feel better about that. And that. And then that. Trying to think if I like the Conehead guys more than I think I do. So I'm going to move them above. I think I liked that order. Dirge, Thrust, Ramjet. Okay, it's taking shape. Not going to make my 10 minutes, but that's fine. Okay, so I feel pretty good about those, and then those. And Ultra Magnus is... All right, I'm going to move Laserbeak. Laserbeak needs to go like above Sunstreaker Ravage as well. Skywarp above them. Perceptor, we'll put a little above Sunstreaker. And then Omega Supreme as well. Swoop. I like Sludge a little bit more than Swoop. Ultra Magnus above Perceptor. RC right below. Rumble. You're going up by Laserbeak and Ravage. Skylynx, you will move up one. Blitzwing's fine. Predaking, okay, Thundercracker up. Above Sunstreak, Blitzwing, Predaking, Wreck-Gar, Superion, Scorponok. Surge, Hardhead I can move down. What am I doing? Why is he or should be in cool. I'll put him right there. Scorponok I probably like a little bit more than Superion. Predaking I can drop below the Quintessons. Scorponok above Predaking. Superion, yep. Fortress Maximus I like more than Scorponok. No I don't. Not in the show. Not in the show. Hound, you're better than that. You're going up by Thundercracker. Side swipe, same deal. By your bro. Scourge is more interesting than some of these guys. Let's take him up to the Quintesson area. Brainstorm, a little below Bruticus. I actually like Motormaster a bit more than Menasor and a little bit more than Bruticus, even though he's a part of Menasor. We will move him down. Blur above Brainstorm. Mirage above Motormaster. Onslaught, Computron, Abominus, and Six Shot. Let's put Superion above Onslaught and Abominus above him. Or above Onslaught, and then Six Shot above Onslaught. Onslaught's going to go down to these guys and be right about there. Okay. All right, now we're getting to the awesome and the favorites. I'm trying to figure out how many favorites I can actually have. You're supposed to just have one favorite, but I'll just, who do I really care about? All right, Trypticon, Metroplex, Unicron, Galvatron, Springer, Astrotrain, Devastator, Shockwave, Soundwave, Starscream, Megatron, Slag, Skydive, Prowl, Jazz, Ironhide. Okay, so Ironhide, Jazz, and Prowl are awesome. Skydive is awesome. But I'm going to move him down to the bottom of it. Slag is toward the bottom of it. Megatron is one of the favorites. Starscream is one of the favorites, and Soundwave is one of the favorites. Shockwave is awesome. Devastator's awesome. Astrotrain's awesome. Springer's awesome. Galvatron's awesome. Unicron, Metroplex, Trypticon, all awesome. I might have some more move up in the awesomes here, but I think I'm good with 3 Autobots and 3 Decepticons in the top. Okay. I am going to move Wheeljack, Bumblebee, Cup, Ratchet. Yeah, and Ratchet into my awesome category. Characters I cared about, characters I didn't want to see go or be off the show or anything. So definitely good with them being up there. All right, let's order these guys as hard as it may be. So Bumblebee is more towards. Okay, so Slag's probably toward the bottom up here. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and put Slag in the Barely Not Awesome category. I'm good to do that. Ratchet, Cup. Wheeljack. I'd have Cup above Wheeljack, even though he's a newer character. Skyfire, I'm going to move down toward the bottom. Trypticon and Metroplex, I can move down. They just don't have as much personality, but I think they're cool. Galvatron. Okay. Springer, I really like. And I'm going to have him toward the top of my awesome category. Just always liked his personality. I thought he was a character that I wish was on the show from the beginning. Jazz is one of my favorites. Probably have Prowl and Ironhide right up here. Bumblebee, we can move up to about up there. Devastator a little above Shockwave. Astrotrain I can move down a bit to be by Skyfire. So Wheeljack, Cup, Unicron, Galvatron, Shockwave, Devastator, Bumblebee, Prowl. I think I'm good. I'm sure I could argue it all over the place. All right, now the real hard part, because I have no idea on the answer of this, is like who's my favorite Transformer. Some people are like, oh my gosh, it's obviously Optimus Prime. It is not for me. I love all these characters. They're all 10 out of 10 for sure. For me, the obvious out for a lot of people would be Hot Rod. They don't like him, but that's okay. It's just because they love Optimus Prime so much, and they kind of wrote him into a corner. Okay, I like Starscream and Soundwave more than Megatron. Megatron is awesome. You got to have all three. I prefer Soundwave over Starscream. Hence the shirt. Um, Grimlock. Huh. It's tough. Love Grimlock. He's so different. Like it's just a freaking giant moron. Um, I think I can do that. So I tend to be more of a good guy, where I like the good guys in a show. I love good bad guys, but I'm going to leave it at that. I prefer Autobots over Decepticons, so I will have the three Decepticons there. Have Grimlock in third. Then I've got Hot Rod and Optimus Prime. And I will tell you that my favorite Autobot is Hot Rod. It is Hot Rod. Now, it is a product of me watching the movie when I did and the show when I did, and discounting for sure his Rodimus Prime character. So Hot Rod really is only in the movie, and then after Optimus Prime comes back, he reverts back to Hot Rod. I love Optimus Prime. Like he's awesome, but he's also very just kind of perfect, right? Like he's the ideal leader type dude, which is fine. But Hot Rod is like the young, fiery, competitive, trying to do the right thing, but flawed character. And I think I enjoyed that more. And his transformation looks so damn cool. Optimus Prime gets a little bit of a deduction because of the trailer and it disappearing. And it's like, why does he even need the trailer if it disappears? Just make him a truck that doesn't have a trailer. Don't know. Similarly with Megatron, turns to a gun, doesn't really do anything. So like the difficulty for me with Starscream and Soundwave is Starscream is a sweet jet, whereas Soundwave is a tape deck. But Soundwave also carries four of the other great characters, or seven, whatever it ended up being. Plus has the awesome voice, the awesome look, the awesome cannon on his shoulder. And then you have Grimlock, who's one of the coolest like talking characters in the show, as well as one of the sweetest like transformations into the dinosaur. So I think this is it. I could always argue with myself the top six in different order, for sure. And honestly, some of these others are some of my favorites. Even down into the Barely Not Awesome, I could argue are higher than they maybe should be. So, or should be higher than they are. So yeah, I think that's it. Transformers G1, and that'll wrap it up for this tier list.